The sound of wedding bells echoed across the sunlit garden, soft petals falling like blessings from the sky. Everyone smiled, everyone cheered, except the bride. Mira stood in her shimmering ivory gown, clutching her bouquet so tightly that her fingers turned pale. Her heart was trembling under the weight of a secret she didn't expect to face. The moment she saw the groom walking toward her, her world stopped. The man she was about to marry, the man she thought was a stranger chosen through her family's arrangement, was the same man who had once broken her heart into pieces. It was Arev. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal, where every story reminds us that hearts can heal and love can return when we least expect it. The world blurred for Mira, the cheerful music, the murmurs of the guests, even the scent of fresh jasmine. It all disappeared under the crushing wave of memories that came rushing back. 2 years ago, Arev had promised her forever. They had met in college, two dreamers chasing different worlds but walking the same path. Mira was quiet, gentle, an artist who painted her feelings more than she spoke them. Arev was ambitious, sharp, and driven by a dream of building his own company. Their love had been pure, yet fragile, tested by distance and pride. When Arev's startup failed, he pushed everyone away, including her. One night, after a painful argument, he left her with nothing but silence and unanswered messages. Mira spent months trying to heal, learning to smile again, convincing herself that love was a luxury she could no longer afford. Life had other plans. Her parents arranged a marriage for her, a proposal from a well-settled young businessman. His name was hidden until the final day for privacy, and Mira, exhausted by years of loneliness and persuasion, had agreed, thinking maybe it was time to let life decide. She told herself she didn't believe in miracles anymore. But the universe had one waiting for her, standing right in front of her in a black sherwani, eyes trembling just like hers. Arev looked stunned, too. His lips parted in disbelief as their eyes met after all that time. He hadn't known either. It was fate, or perhaps the universe's cruelest joke. The guests clapped, waiting for the ceremony to begin, unaware of the silent storm brewing between them. The priest began chanting, voices blending with the wind. Mira's tears welled up but didn't fall yet. She couldn't ruin the moment. She couldn't make a scene. But her heart screamed, "Why him? Why now?" The ceremony continued. She moved like a statue, following the rituals, each step heavier than the last. Memories collided with the present, their first rain walk, his laughter in the cafe, the night he'd promised never to leave. Her chest tightened as the final vow approached, the moment where she had to look into his eyes and promise forever again. She couldn't breathe. The priest asked them to exchange garlands. Arev hesitated, his hands shaking as he lifted the flowers toward her. When their fingers brushed, Mira flinched. He whispered softly, only loud enough for her to hear, "Mira, I didn't know it would be you." Tears finally spilled down her cheeks. The crowd murmured, thinking it was the emotion of a new bride. But those weren't tears of joy. They were tears of confusion, pain, and a flood of love she had buried deep. Arev's eyes glistened. "Please believe me," he said under his breath, his voice trembling. "I never stopped loving you." The ceremony paused briefly. Mira's father noticed her distress, stepping forward to ask if she was all right. She nodded weakly, forcing a smile, but inside her heart was breaking and healing at the same time. Fate had brought them here, but could she trust it? Could she trust him? Hours later, as the sun climbed high and the guests moved to the garden reception, Mira slipped away. She walked to the quiet lake behind the venue, the reflection of her wedding dress shimmering on the surface. The laughter and music faded into the distance. She felt lost, like she was standing between the ruins of the past and the promise of the future. She heard footsteps behind her. Arev approached, no longer the confident man everyone saw, but someone vulnerable, desperate to be understood. "Mira," he said softly, "I didn't plan this. I thought I'd lost you forever. When my company failed, I wasn't just broke, I was broken. I felt like I didn't deserve you. I left because I didn't want to pull you down with me." His voice cracked, and for the first time she saw tears in his eyes. "I worked for years to rebuild my life, but every success felt empty without you." Mira stared at the water, her fingers clutching her dupatta. "Do you know what your silence did to me?" she said in a trembling voice. "I waited, Arav, for months. I begged the universe for one message, one reason. You left me believing I wasn't enough." He closed his eyes, guilt washing over him like a wave. "You were always enough. I was the one who wasn't." The wind brushed her veil across her face, the moment stretching between them in fragile silence. The afternoon sun glowed softly over the lake, wrapping them in light like a memory reborn. Mira took a deep breath. "You broke me once," she said, "and I learned to live without you, but I don't know if I can trust you again." Arav stepped closer, his voice steady but gentle. "Then don't trust my words," he said. "Trust what life did. It brought us back together in the strangest way possible. If this isn't fate giving us another chance, what else could it be?" Mira looked up at him. His eyes held the same warmth that once melted her fears, the same eyes that had haunted her dreams. A quiet tear rolled down her cheek, but this time it carried both pain and forgiveness. "I don't know what the future holds, Arav," she whispered, "but maybe this time I want to find out." He reached out his hand, not demanding, not claiming, just offering. She placed her trembling fingers into his, and for a moment the world seemed still. The bells from the wedding echoed again in the distance, this time softer, like a promise whispered to the wind. As they walked back to the venue side by side, the crowd saw only a radiant bride and a smiling groom. No one knew about the storm they had weathered, the hearts that had been shattered and rebuilt. But Mira knew. She had cried on her wedding day not out of sadness, but because sometimes tears are the only way to wash away the past and make room for something new. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mira looked at Arav across the candle-lit table. He smiled quietly, his eyes speaking the words he once left unsaid. She smiled back, realizing that life had given her a strange, beautiful gift, the chance to love again, the same person, but with a new heart. Because sometimes the most painful goodbyes are just the beginning of a better hello. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal and help spread the message that love can heal, and second chances do exist. Special request: comment below, do you believe people deserve a second chance in love? Your thoughts might inspire someone's new beginning today.